So here's the thing about Veep. You need to watch it immediately. This is going to be a no-spoiler general recommendation about why this show is so incredible. I mean, I have, and I am not joking here, rewatched this show upwards of 50 times. I repeat, not exaggerating even remotely, and I have people that can vouch for that. The incredibly quick timing, the stunning attention to detail, and the amazing cast make it so easy to want to watch this show over and over again, which I have indeed done. I mean, at this point, I basically just recite the lines at the screen while I'm like eating or going to bed or really doing anything that can't occupy my full attention. So, a lot of things. But here, I wanted to list every reason why you should watch Veep because it is such an amazing show. Number 1 is Selina Meyer and Julia LouisDreyfus. She is reason numero uno to watch this show. The performance she gives is so incredible, it's something you have to see for yourself. The amount of micro expressions and subtle changes in emotion that she is able to display across her face is simply astounding to me, and every single frame with her in it is a masterpiece that I insist on rewatching 50 times. It's also amazing to watch a character who constantly tries to cover up what their actual emotions are, because it's really hard to portray what they are actually feeling, but Julia nails it every single time. Even as you can see Selina, the character, try to cover up the real emotion on her face, Julia is able to always have it shine through so you can tell exactly what she's feeling subtly, and it's not obvious for the audience. You know, the in-universe audience. I mean, it is something to look at least, when someone is nominated for an Emmy and wins nearly every year that a season of their show comes out. It might seem ridiculous, and then you watch this show and it's like, oh, no, that makes total sense. I mean, she embodies this character. It was written for her, and it's so clear that it is. I mean, I watched Seinfeld and a little bit of The New Adventures of Old Christine, and this character is so wildly different from those two. It's amazing how well she's able to enter the role. I mean, again, obvious, but can you imagine literally a single other actress taking on this role and doing a better job than her? Because I sure can't. And it's amazing that she was able to play someone in such a high professional level, which is so different from the characters that she had been playing previously. The combination of comedic timing and impeccable, downright scary rage is a mix that I don't think will ever be accomplished on television again, unless she goes back and gives another performance. The level of fear she is able to strike into the hearts of the audience and everyone in the cast on screen is immeasurable and makes this show so enjoyable to watch. Let me just show you one scene of her acting, and you can judge for yourself.
Well, Mother, I just want you to... Those you love cannot be lost because they are always a part of you.
Another reason is the rest of the ensemble. Now, I can't place all the credit on Julia, because the rest of the cast is something to be spoken about as well. The characters are all fleshed out and one of a kind, and each character is casted so well for each of their personalities. I mean, the cast is veteran. Tony Hale, Gary Cole, Kevin Dunn, Matt Walsh, they all have tons of experience in ensemble cast, and it lends itself so well to constructing the overall tone and chemistry that I love so much. And it only gets better as the show goes on. If you watch the behind the scenes, you can see that it was such a positive and welcoming set for all involved. Everyone in the cast cried when the show ended because they loved the journey, and it's evident when you see how they interact on screen. Even if the characters don't like each other very much, it's clear that the cast has bonded a great deal because they are able to yes-and each other in such an amazing and clever way. Plus, all the characters are such terrible people, it's amazing to see them played so well. I mean, they get harsh with the insults, but it is crucial for this show's sense of humor. I mean, they have the most unique insults I've ever heard, and the cast is all such good sports about lobbing those insults at each other. And specifically, I mean, Tony Hale gives one-of-a-kind performance as Gary Walsh. That's the thing about this show, is you have Julia giving her incredible performance at the top, but then you also have Tony Hale, and he also embodies the character when he's on screen, making absolutely insane choices with his expressions and blocking. I mean, Gary is so over the top as a character, but it works so well within the show, and again, could not have been played by anyone but Tony Hale. He uses the space around him extremely well, and his chemistry with Julia makes their central relationship one of the most important and enjoyable parts of the entire show. They play so well off of each other and have most of their scenes together that they made this show almost single-handedly a success. And there are tons of great guest stars, so many colorful and horrifying characters around DC that fill out the world and make the politics of the world come to life. Plus, they get some incredible improvisers on this set to be able to create some naturally funny moments and incredibly realistic dialogue. You can tell that actors were encouraged to play with the lines that they were given, and that they would do a couple different takes with different choices to see how things could pan out. Because actors are able to make their own choices and direct things in their own way if you give them the opportunity to do it. It's also worth noting that the rest of the cast is one of a kind in their own characters. I wouldn't recast any of them. That is just the incredible thing about this show. Sufi Bradshaw, for example, as Sue, is just so perfect, even though that character is a much smaller part of the show as a whole. Another reason why this show is great is the smart, cynical writing. This show really doesn't let you have anything. The stakes are so high all the time, and they are not afraid to blow up their own premise and have the characters lose everything they wanted. I mean, they don't really deserve to win what they want because, like I said, these characters are all terrible people. There's no happy sitcom endings where everything resolves in 22 minutes. Sometimes things just don't resolve, because that's how politics turns out. I mean, have you looked around yourself today? Come on. And that's the great thing about this show. The non-sitcom-like writing lends itself extremely well to what it's actually commenting on, which is American politics. They're not trying to make any important difference. They get stalled at every turn by red tape and personal agendas, and they end up almost getting nothing done after years of exhausting work. It's all just so wonderfully cynical about the state of American politics today, and what politicians are actually going for rather than trying to make a difference. You might think this negativity is bad for your perception of the country, but I think being able to laugh about it actually helps me cope with America's glaring issues sometimes, which might be why I choose to find comfort in this show over and over again. There's also terribly toxic relationships presented humorously. This might not sound like a plus, and it might annoy you, but there are some incredibly complex familial and workplace relationships that are also so not okay. I think that this makes them more interesting to watch at a certain point because of, again, the performances and how wonderfully twisted and odd the relationships are. They are fascinating to watch, and the depth of expressions the cast is able to display just makes them even more interesting. It's refreshing to see shows that don't try to redeem all of their characters by the end or try to make all of their characters seem like they were doing the right thing or that they were justified in their actions. Here, the characters are selfish, self-centered, and they almost never learn their lessons. They grow, but they grow into worse people. And you still root for them. It's an incredible accomplishment in terms of writing, and it's so weird to work through those emotions while you are watching this show. You're like, why do I want her to win? She kind of sucks. Another reason the show is great is the creative storytelling choices. The way that they tell the story also changes throughout the show. They often try to shake up the way the story is told to keep things interesting, and sometimes make the events in the show seem like real political situations. Giving testimonies, making documentaries, having news programs shown to the audience, they meticulously craft all of these small pieces of media to make this show feel more grounded and like it actually is set in America in the present. But it also keeps the story feeling constantly fresh and intriguing. It also just feels like the people who make the show care about how the story is told. They never really lose that smart sensibility or attention to detail, even after the showrunner changes after season 4. In fact, season 5 might be my favorite season, and that's after the showrunner change. The final reason why you should go watch Veep is it has some surprisingly dark, thoughtful moments. As much as I've praised this show in this video for being absolutely hilarious and entertaining, it still manages to break your heart at the same time. Even though these characters are not particularly good people, in fact, they are particularly awful people, you do somehow want to see them win. And when you don't, and they're surrounded by their own flaws and shortcomings and everything that they have besides their career, it ends up being a really raw, real moment that they are able to sell extremely well. Not only because the performances are so goddamn good, but also because this show picks its moments to take its time. It generally moves very fast, and that's something I like about the writing of this show, is the dialogue is very quick and witty, and you don't have a lot of time to process anything, which is why rewatching the show is essential so you can get all of the jokes that they throw in there. Sometimes it really slows down and centers around a character and what they're actually going through in that moment after losing what they were working so hard towards. And I think that this has even more of an effect on me as a result. They absolutely nail real. These truly real dark moments, and I encourage you to watch the show not only for its incredible humor, which is what most people watch the show for, but also for its top-notch political and emotional drama. I mean, you will see some of the best performances you have ever seen in drama in this comedy, which is another reason why you should go watch it, because it's able to split those genres so well. And this show is just, so much care was clearly put into it. I'm just really glad that this show was given so much attention to detail. They let Julia work with the show because she had such a strong influence over it, and she was able to craft this character in her own way, which just makes it more her own. They let most of the cast do the same, which is why the entire ensemble feels so real and detailed, and they come to life as you watch it. I just never get tired of seeing this show. I can recite it to you. I can tell you every single IMDb rating of every single episode, just because it is that goddamn good. It is one of a kind. We will never get another like it. Please go watch Veep on Max right now. Okay, turn this video off. Oh, but go to our Patreon.